Hi, Harry Dent here on Good Friday, April the 7th, Easter weekend. This also just happens to be a very important time in the markets. That's why I'm going to do kind of a little bit more of an extended rant here. And note, I'll refer to this during, and afterwards I'll talk about, we're going to put on a webinar on Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern time, okay, to cover this topic because it's so important where the markets are now and really show the charts and really get you convicted that this is the time to act if ever. If you want to short the market and you're more risk prone, this is the time to do it. And if you want to be out of the way, this is definitely the most dangerous time coming, and it will not be the end, by the way. Remember, I've been forecasting from the beginning that this would last well into 2024, and I've been telegraphing also that we've been in a two-wave bounce, and we will be going into an important third wave down, which could last the rest of this year. So this is going to be the most important wave to catch and get out of the way of. Okay, so now, real quick briefer on Elliott wave. Okay, my friend Robert Prechter brought this theory back to life from the early 1900s. One of the best technical tools out there. You always hear me talking about a one wave down or a fifth wave bottom or ABC correction. That is Elliott wave. I call it the language of technical analysis. Okay, so this is important stuff. In the long term, the fundamentals are everything. Okay, the demographic trends, generational spending, technology cycles, they're the other big one that really increases our productivity and standard of living. Those cycles have 4 stages to them. The demographics more like on a 39-year cycle, and the technology more on a 45-year cycle. So those are the longer term things. But in the short term, we have to deploy technical analysis. How are the markets moving? How are they likely to move ahead? And there are wave sequences. And again, that's what Elliott wave theory, I think, is the best for describing that. So what have we seen here? We have seen that consequential first wave down. And I was warning, again, that needed to be at least 28% by analyzing all the past great crashes in history, and as much as 50%. It needs to be at least that, and thank goodness, that first wave, which finally hit the hardest into June, but finally bottomed around early October for most indices, was down 38% in the end for the NASDAQ, okay, 28% for the S&P 500. So that does qualify, okay? And we've been in a second wave bounce ever since. And that bounce has gone, 4, 5, 6 months in now. The top actually more like 4 months. That's as long as a second wave bounce should go, okay? So this is coming to the time where I can more strongly warn, okay, if you haven't gotten out yet, or you're still hanging on, or you played the bounce, this is the time to get back out of the markets. And I mean get back out. And if you are going to short, especially on leverage with something like SQQQ, this is the time to enter. And if we don't see follow through in the next few weeks, then maybe this is going to take a little longer. But this looks like the most likely time to happen. Now, what is the target for this? Okay. This third wave actually already started, okay? We saw the first wave of it down in this bounce, and we're going into the third wave of the third wave, okay? So that's why this is so consequential. This should be the most powerful wave we see in this whole 2.5 year sequence down, okay? The crash of a lifetime. And this is the wave. This is the move that should go down enough to convince almost anybody that this is a major crash and not a major correction. A lot of people still holding out for that. A lot of people think, oh, we'll still see new highs and the Fed's got this under control. This is where they lose control. This is where investors finally panic and get, oh my gosh, this is not a correction. And then they get scared, and then it's hard to get them to buy back in, okay? And they may at times, but then the correction can't continue on the way down. So I'm projecting just this wave, the third of the third, should take us down to about 8,000. Now that's just an educated guess, okay? Don't hold me to that exact number, okay? About 8,000. And then we'll get a fourth wave bounce off of that. And then the total third wave down, with a fifth to follow this one, should take us down to the COVID lows. And that's a very solid target, okay? That's 6,667 on the NASDAQ, okay? So, and I'm using the NASDAQ because it's the most powerful index, the lead index here. So you know, the same recommendations come for when to buy and sell for the S&P 500 or the Russell 2000 or whatever you may be in, or any foreign indexes, but I'm using the NASDAQ as the guide here to make it simple for everybody, okay? So that's when we see the most powerful wave coming up. This whole third wave that already started should bottom by around the end of this year. And then we get a bounce into early 2024. And then the fifth wave, which is not likely to be as strong, could be, but as strong as this one, will finish off this down to those potentially 80, 90% lows. Again, I'm best forecasting simple and very solid target that we simply go back to the March 2009 lows in the major stock indices. That is can't get a clearer target than that. And that is what takes us down. And this is what's going to be a shock to people: 86% in the S&P 500 and 92% in the NASDAQ and 92% in the Russell 2000. And I think 91% in biotech. People are into that. So this is when the music plays. This is when it happens, okay? And if it's going to happen, this looks like it's getting ready to start now, so be on alert. This is the time to be out or short if you're more of a trader and willing to take that risk. And remember, the problem with bear markets is they move faster and harder. They're trickier to catch as a trader in and out than our bull markets, okay? But this is the big wave, and this should be happening now. And of course, I will keep you updated, and again, stay on. I'm going to give a little more information about this webinar on Tuesday right after this. Now, since we're in such an important time for the markets, and in this again, and I've never been kidding about this, crash of a lifetime, the closest thing we will see to 1929 to 32 if this plays out and the markets take back over and the central banks can't stop this. And again, they've already proven that they can't stop this if we go into this third wave, if it's as deep as I'm saying, like 8,000 on the NASDAQ or something. So we're putting on a webinar 2 o'clock. I wanted to do it sooner than later, okay? This is not a lot of notice, and there will be replays for people who can't make this, okay? But try to make this if you can. 2 p.m. Eastern time this coming Tuesday, okay? So again, it'll be about me talking maybe 30, 35 minutes or so, and then allow plenty of time for Q&A. As long as people need, we can go as much as 90 minutes here. I'd like to see this go 60, but do not miss this. This is the most important time I think we'll see in this crash. This is that midway pivot, okay? We're about to go into the middle, as I said before, the third wave of the third wave, the most powerful wave within the most powerful wave. So we should see the most action here if passed as a guide. And this is where most damage will be done in the market. So you have to be out here. And if you want to short the market and take some risk, and remember, this is risky. I mean, these markets move hard and fast here. If you want to take risk, this is the time to take it. So I expect that this next wave will go down for about 2 months, like the third wave of the first wave down last year, okay? So it'll go down into about mid-June would be my target. So it's peaking here in early April or so, and should last about 2 months or a little more into about mid-June. So again, major wave down likely, big profits for people who are willing to get somewhat short or outright short, and this is definitely the wave you want to avoid. Now, I also want to take time here to announce something important. We have a new offering on the HS Dent Forecast newsletter. Instead of paying the annual fee, you can pay $25 a month and stay on as long as you want or until you decide you do want to subscribe annually. So this also, at this time, also includes this webinar I'm giving on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Okay, and if you do not want to miss this webinar, this would normally be $19.95 when we do a webinar like this. So you're going to get the webinar and the newsletter at $25 a month. So I advise you to act now. Thanks.